I don't know if I'm in it or not. But my name is Donna Craddock. I'm one of the co-owners of the Doc Bookshop, and we are excited about this panel here today. And it's being hosted by the Sisterhood Foundation, and that is Amber Morgan's foundation. And so we appreciate all that you're doing in the community and how you put this panel together with some wonderful people that I know and love dearly. So thank you for organizing all this. If you're not connected to Doc Bookshop, please connect with us on our socials and also on our website at docbookshop.com. And also mark your calendars. We've got a lot of things happening here at the Doc Bookshop. On Tuesdays, we have our open mic at 7:30. We'd love for you to come and be a part of that. And we have Omar Tyree. He's a national best-selling author. He's coming on July 27th. And then we're getting ready for the Trinity River Book Festival in September. So September 14th is going to be a wonderful event down at the Trinity. So just connect with us on all socials and our website and just let's stay connected. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Ember, and thank you for being here.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all very much for coming out to this celebration of Black empowerment. Again, as Donna said, my name is Amber Morgan. I'm with the Sisterhood Foundation. It is a nonprofit organization that helps teen girls 13 to 18 with self-esteem building, communication skills, and helping them prepare for life after high school. We have a major event. We're going to Xavier University to tour the college in July, free of charge to our girls. I'm very proud and happy about that because one of the girls wants to go to Xavier, so we're making that dream come true for her. I thank you all again for coming out to hear this amazing panel talk about the things they're doing in the community and how we need to uplift and empower each other. It's all about Black empowerment, knowing who we are, where we came from, where we're going, and how we need to help improve and help each other. We're going to go ahead and get started. I have a lovely guest who's going to sing for you all. She has an amazing voice. She will come up and sing a piece. If you want to book her, please do so. She sings and she also does hair. She does amazing hair. She does lots. Ms. Shayla Sweet, if you can come on up. Thank you.
How y'all doing today?
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on until victory is won.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shayla. I appreciate it very much. Okay, before we get started with our panel discussion, we have one more performance by Mr. Mike Wynn. Okay. Well, before we go ahead and get started with the discussion, I want to do a raffle. The first person who is not signed up on the Doc Bookshop Facebook page, Sisterhood page, and also any of our panelists page. If you're not following any of our panelists, the first person to do so will get a prize. You want to go to our social media pages?
Okay, go to social media.
Doc Bookshop, Sisterhood Foundation, Miss Neek Revamp, Louis McLean, Mike Wynn, and the lovely Mr. Yu. First person that gets a notification will get a door prize.
of dead silence for me, y'all. I mean, come on, work it out. Work them phones, y'all. I can't. I'm like, somebody drop a pin. Say something.
Okay, I have Keisha Sanchez. Come up for your door prize. I have a amazing prize for the person in the audience that follows all of the panelists on stage, follows the Doc's Bookshop. You will win a free trip. We will give that free trip after the discussion. So if you all can follow all of the panelists, that's Mr. Yu,
All of my pages.
Shayla Sweets.
It have to be all of my pages.
Okay, all of Miss Neat's pages,
On every platform.
Sisterhood Foundation. And Miss Neek, once we do our introductions, she will let you know all of those pages, and that person at the end will win a free trip. Also, Sisterhood Foundation, Louis McLean, and Mr. Mike Wynn. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you very much for coming to the Black Empowerment Roundtable discussion. One thing I want you all to kind of focus on while you're here is being intentional about your Black sisters and Black brothers. Being intentional when you show up to events, when you show up to interact, whether you're at a job, out in public, when you're showing up, show up for your Black people, show up for your brothers and sisters. Wherever you are, make sure you're being intentional. That's one thing I want to take in. So we'll start from my right to left with the introduction. So Mike, if you'll start first. Thank you.
I'm Mike. I'm kidding. Name is Mike Gwynn from Jacksonville, Texas. Master's in Social Work from Bachelor's in Social Work from Stephen F. Austin, Master's Social Work from UT Arlington. I work with our youth who age out of foster care. I also work with our homeless youth. I do a lot of shows and events with poetry and spoken word and a whole lot of other things. So you can find me on all social media, and that's pretty short right there.
I'll keep it shorter. Louis T. McLean II. I'm the CEO of Melanin Origins, a children's book company writing children's books about African American pioneers. All right, I'm a meditative coach, a mindset philosophy coach who helps. My mission is to help my clients identify and attain results in their passion and in their purpose so that they can manifest the life that they've always desired. And I also have a full-time job. Let's see, I'm the director of programs with a nonprofit called Building Pathways, where we literally are grabbing at-risk youth, opportunity youth, and placing them inside the construction industry and showing them how in 5 to 10 years they can see themselves making 60 to 100K in the construction industry.
Thank you. Again, I'm Amber Morgan. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in behavior analysis from the University of North Texas. I enjoy studying and helping people improve their quality of life, looking at their negatives and turning it into a positive, taking actual behavior analytics steps to improving their life. I started the Sisterhood Foundation in 2022 to help girls like me. Well, I was a girl, but to help young girls see a better future, give them a better opportunity, and kind of focus in on what they want to do with their lives, whether it goes to college, whether they start their own business. We give them the tools that they need to be successful, hooking them up with other organizations and kind of sharing resources. We meet twice a month to discuss different topics, and then we also have sisterhood bonding events where we take the girls out. We just celebrated Juneteenth at the park. We had a picnic, and we just kind of bond with the girls and kind of give them a different outlook on life. Thank you.
Hello, I am Miss Neek, also known as Miss Neek Revamp. And switch it. Switch it, Mike. I like that one better. Hello, can y'all hear me? Okay, all right. I'm Miss Neek, also known as Miss Neek Revamp, and I ain't got all the degrees they got. My degrees, my master's, my philosophy, my doctorate, and all that came from Hard Knocks. You know what I'm saying? The School of Hard Knocks. Okay, yes. I do have, several other things, but it don't matter. 23 years in the medical field, that's irrelevant to this. I am an author, motivational speaker. I am an influencer. I am a trauma healing coach, okay? Because life is the best teacher you can ever have. And so I graduated from that. How many of us, we all done that? Okay, right, so that's where I've gotten my doctorate and all of that in the Hard Knocks. With that said, I'm an author, so I make sure that I specialize in reflective things, right? Most times melanated people are the ones that are underrepresented. So everything I do is very intentional, as Ms. Amber have already said. I'm very intentional with what I create. I want the betterment of our community, and so therefore I put out what I feel like I don't see enough of. Whether it be melanated characters in coloring books, or coloring books specifically for melanated folks, adult coloring books, because when was the best time you ever had when you just sat with a box of crayons on the floor and you have nothing in the world to think about, right? But whether it's journals that are reflective of not just us women, but also our men. And then I'm a social media influencer as well. So I have a book about social, how to succeed during social media. I have a book where I cater to young entrepreneurs, because I also teach entrepreneurship, Young and Dumb. And DUMB is an acronym for Dreamers Unleashing Motivated Businesses. So needless to say, I'm busy all the time. All the time I'm busy, right? But with that all being said, I'm very intentional with what I do, with what power I put out there, with what energy I put out there, and that's why I'm qualified to be a panelist.
Thank you for that, Ms. Nick. Hey, how y'all doing? Thank y'all for coming out. I also want to thank God for allowing me to be here. My name is Rodriguez Underwood, better known as Mr. U. I have a fashion and marketing brand here in Dallas, Texas, named Mr. U's Closet, where I do photography, wardrobe styling, and event production. I'm also a public speaker, an author, and a well-known influencer. I promote, I'm an advocate for foster care, and I also do a lot of women, men, and youth empowerment. So thank you, Amber, for allowing me to be on the panel.
Okay, thank you all. Thank you all for agreeing to participate in this kind of discussion. I think it's very important that we have this discussion, not just today, but every day. Talk about how we can uplift and empower each other in the Black community. As you all know, that other cultures and other ethnicities, they feed off our energy. They feed off what we do. So why can't we feed off each other and make it even better? I'm going to start with a couple of questions. I'll ask each of the panelists. We'll talk about 2 to 3 minutes. If anyone in the audience, if any one of these questions register with you, if you want to answer the question or you have an idea, feel free to chime in, raise your hand, and we'll get you in to answer the question. This is a discussion for all of us to kind of help with the next step of empowerment, what we're going to do next with empowering each other. And the first question I have for the panelists and also you all, what does Black empowerment mean to you specifically, to you? What does Black empowerment mean? Who would like to answer that first?
Louis McClain once again. All right, Black empowerment, what does it mean? Black empowerment. Well, first, to be empowered, that means that you're being given special ability to believe in yourself and to have confidence and to move in a certain direction. And so empowerment, that word seems to be something that is received from the outside in, but truly it's something that's experienced from the inside out. Okay? For us to be empowered, we must start with the healthy knowledge of self, and then have that knowledge of self, understanding that we all are equals, we all are mirrors of each other, and we all are one existing for a collective purpose. So first, it's looking within and experiencing that realization. And then it's working from the inside out. So now we're going out. So now as an individual, I am building myself up. I'm setting goals for myself. I'm writing the vision down, making it plain. I'm moving towards that. I'm looking out at my other mirrors of reflections around me, right? My partners, my friends in life, right? And we are collectively banding together with a collective purpose, moving forward to achieve said goal. I think that if we look at it that way, from an individual perspective, that each and every single one of us has the ability to be the change that we wish to see in the world, we then empower ourselves, and then we can be in a better position to win the fight. Are there systemic issues that we have to face, that we have to deal with? Yes, but that's why we empower ourselves to get in the position, to get into those companies, to make the changes one by one. And we continue to have events like this where we're building each other up and supporting each other as we continue to move forward. Who's next?
That's it. Okay. Y'all don't judge me because I honestly don't need a microphone, but I just do want to make sure that I am being picked up. Am I being picked up good? All right. So much to piggyback off this thing, you know, empowerment is such an empowering word in general. You know, it means that you hold power. To empower something means that you hold power in something. And I think that just going off of the word empowerment, there's strength in it. And I think that what empowers me is the lack of, and I know that might seem weird, right? But I'm big and I'm heavy on putting out in the world what I don't see. You know, being more reflective, you know, being more intentional. You know, it's easy to go through life and just be angry and be bitter and be irritated and be agitated and be, you know, it's easy to do that. It takes no effort at all to relinquish your power to somebody else. But to hold and stand firm in your power means that you're standing intentionally, that you're going against the grain, and that sometimes you're going to probably be by yourself. And so I stand alone a lot of the times in a lot of rooms, and I don't give a damn. I'm okay being bold and being true and being real and being honest and being, you know, in my elements. I'm okay being the oddball in the room. You know, I'm okay with being the person that is different than everybody else, because as long as I'm standing on what I feel is my power, then I'm good. And I think that that's the thing that we have to get comfortable with in our community. We have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is doing everything because it follows the grain, because it's the norm, because it's comfortable. Everybody else is doing it. And it's like, okay, just because everybody's jumping off the bridge, you're going to jump too? Like, at some point, you're going to have to stand up and do what makes sense to you as an individual person. And so in a crowded room, I find myself being the only light. Or maybe the room is lit and I'm the one in the dark. Whatever it is, that's my power. And I think that if we start to live in our empowerment, which, like Louis said, you know, it's from within. If we start living from what's within us, then that's going to be like, that's the key. That's the key. The key to being who you are is to live intentionally as you are, and to be okay being perfectly imperfect, and be okay that somebody else don't agree with you. You want to chime in on that one?
I'm like Ms. Nika, I almost don't need a microphone, but I'm gonna exercise it anyway. But I love both answers so far. I think for me, Black empowerment means continue to push the narrative of who we are, understanding and continue to do our education and continue to lay that foundation in enriching our community. You know, whether that be through your business, outreach, community service, doing events like this. This is what Black empowerment is to me. Us coming together as a collective, as a unit, to empower the community. That's Black empowerment. And I think continue to push the narrative of what our ancestors laid before us and paying homage and respect to that by continuing to do events like this. That's why I take my hat off to Amber for bringing this back for part 2, because part 1 was so amazing that we need to continue to do things like this for our community and not just talk about Black empowerment, but get out in the community and effectively push Black empowerment. So I'm glad to be one of those people in the community that I think that everything that I do, I try to represent Black excellence because I am Black empowerment.
And that's on period.
I kind of took notes when she sent the questions out. So I answered, empowerment aims to give Black people the chance to earn more money, own more property, etc., and have a greater role in the community, in the economy than they did before. It's investing in transparent Black leadership that develops bold, transformational, community-centered solutions for the Black community. Bottom line is, this room should be packed right now. It should be packed right now. There are a lot of leaders in here. I mean, sometimes something as little as triple-digit temperatures keeps us away from, this type of empowerment. So, we got work to do, but I know the other questions will definitely reveal some of the things we can do to try and empower people to empower.
Before I ask the next question, Black empowerment means to me, like piggyback off what they said, is pretty much looking into yourself to be able to give back to people like you. Because we all know every time we go into a room, wherever we go, we're not always favored. We're not always liked. Who cares who like us? But if we like ourselves, if we know who we are, what we're doing, what our purpose is. I make it a intention, a purpose to empower my people, to uplift my people. A few years ago, I made the transition to become vegan, a spiritual journey to pour into who I am as a person, what I'm pouring into myself so that I can be able to get out to my community. I don't want to be angry when I talk to my people. I don't want to be emotional when I talk to my people. I want to talk to my people with a sense of self, a sense of who I am so that you can know who you are, and together we can move in numbers. Black empowerment is moving in numbers, uplifting each other. The next question that I have, what steps do you or do we need to take to improve Black empowerment? What steps can we take in the community to help improve each other?
I'm gonna take that question first. So, in my opinion, it kind of goes off of what we already kind of said. Being intentional. That's number one. As Mike said, this room should be packed. It should be packed. And then the first thing we have to do is start showing up. That's the first thing we have to do. And honestly, y'all, that is the hardest thing to do. The hardest thing to do is to show up. It's to simply show up. It's not to show up and participate. It's not to show up and act a fool. It's not to show up and ask a question. It's just to show up. Show up where you are asked to show up. And that is the biggest part, no matter where you are in your life. Showing up is the very first step. That's it. Sometimes simply showing up for somebody, even if you don't have the right words, even if you don't have the advice, even if you could care less, just showing up, just being there, just being a body in a seat, being a person in a room, being a soul in a body. That in itself is all we need sometimes. That's it. Because when you look around the room, sometimes it's who you see, and sometimes it's who you don't see that makes the difference when it's time for your mission, right? That's what inspires you. That's what encourages you. You get what I'm saying? Now, if I was a person who was weak and I was new to this whole speaking thing, this would be a disservice to me. This would be sad to me. This wouldn't be encouraging to me. But because I know that all it takes is for one person to carry the message that I'm giving, it don't matter if ain't but one person in this room. But other people are not on the journey I'm on. They don't have the knowledge that I have. They ain't been out here. They don't know the impact of their words, their mission, you get what I'm saying? So they don't know. So if they come in here and they looking like, oh, it's 8 people in here, they might walk out. The message that they need is in this room. The blessing they've been asking for is in this room. That mission that they've been set out to embark on is in those seats, but they don't know. Because what? Everybody is following the grain. I just said that, right? Wherever your attention is, your intention is there. So for everyone in here, I want y'all to clap for yourselves because your attention is where your intention is where your power is. So whatever has your intention gets your attention and vice versa. So let's be intentional because that's our power. And just show up. I don't care if you show up for 5 minutes. I don't care if you show up and just got a picture. I don't care if nobody saw you, but you got a picture in the background, you can post it later. You understand what I'm saying? But just show up. That is our problem as a community. Everyone is so individualized and we need to come together. We need to be more about ourselves and be conclusive. Listen, the whole theory of folk living with all these people in one house, you know, grandmamas, aunties, and all of them living under one roof, that all comes from us. And we're the one people, we're the group of people who have walked away from our own mission. This is what we set out. We set that tone. Everyone mimics us. And we walked away from it. And then we sit here and make crack jokes about it being 20 people in the one bedroom. But guess what? When they leave there, they all got houses and brand new cars and they got 4, 5 businesses and all this other stuff. And we sitting up here homeless, sitting out on the street. Mama don't get along with the brother don't get along with the sister, daddy on drugs. We got all these issues that we refuse to bring together, but we sitting back laughing and talking crap about each other. And then we got the audacity to talk crap about the other people who are doing it right. They took it from us. And then we walked away from it. So let's show up because that's where the power is, in showing up. And I don't care if you don't have the words. It's okay. Just show up. I just need to see your face. Let me see your smile. Let me see your body. Let me feel your spirit. Let me read your vibe. Just show up. That's our problem. We don't show up. And I'm going to end on this. For those of us who do show up, we don't give enough credit. So I want y'all all understand and receive me when I tell you, your showing up matters more than you will ever believe, more than you would ever know, because it is hard to show up. It is 100+ degrees outside. Some people don't have air conditioning in their vehicles, but they still show up. Somebody didn't have gas money to get here, but they still show up. Somebody don't even have food to eat when they leave here, but they still show up. The same issues those who may use for not showing up, some of the people that did show up got some of those same obstacles. So what's wrong with our community? We don't show up.
Wow. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Let's build on that. And before we do that, I want for us to give the audience a round of applause for showing up. Come on. No, seriously, let's build on that because so much truth was spoken just now. The power of showing up. I can guarantee you, every single person, and I'm honored to be sitting next to this gentleman right here because he's a national award-winning poet. Like he's an incredible brother who's been doing this thing for years and creating a platform based on something that he loves and he enjoys within his heart. Now I can tell you, he worked on building his skills, and each and every one of us has done the same thing. I can tell you, each and every single one of us showed up at some place to meet somebody that got us in the next room. And then we continue to walk on this journey of elevation. All glory to God. Okay, now, so we show up. After we show up, what's next?
Follow through.
Yes, we follow through. While we are there, why do we show up? We showed up just to be here, just to get a good word, just to be in the room of upwardly mobile people. we've already discovered our purpose before we showed up. While we're here, now we're mixing and mingling with like-minded individuals. We are finding out that we already had our purpose in coming here. Now we're mixing and mingling to see what's next. My thought process is this. Each and every single person has something within them that they desire to do or to achieve in the world, right? So we show up, we mix and mingle, we find like-minded individuals, and then we collectively move forward towards that. With my publishing company, Melanin Origins, right? Let me tell y'all a quick story. Let's see. So I went to a college called Pensacola Christian College, predominantly white school, right? Predominantly conservative Republican people there, right? Which this doesn't have to be a political conversation, right? But that's the environment that I got my education in. I graduated in 2008 before President Obama was elected, right? Once he got elected, oh man, that school went in an uproar. It was something totally different, right? They just couldn't accept it, right? A few years later, 2012, what happened? In February, the tragic killing of Trayvon Martin, right? The tragic killing of Trayvon Martin. Now, at school, predominantly Christian school, predominantly white people, I was studying criminal justice. 80% of my classmates were Caucasian males who were going on to be a police officer. All of my professors were ex-police officers except two, right? I'm in this environment. 2012, these same individuals that I was cramming with, to study with, that I was praying with, the prayer group, going downtown to win souls with, these same individuals are calling a young man who looks just like me, who just got killed, a thug. When Ferguson is happening, they're posting pictures of Planet of the Apes rioting, right? And so I looked at this situation, I'm like, man, these individuals truly don't even care about me at all. Like, they don't care about me or anyone who looks like me, like, at all. And these are professing Christians who went to school to be excellent in law enforcement. And this is how they're carrying on. Now, of course, there are great police officers out there. I'm just talking about this experience, right? But that ate me up so much that I said, for our young Black boys and girls, I need to create some kind of situation where they can look at themselves and see themselves in the most beautiful way possible. That they can see that they had leaders who did great, outstanding things and who achieved incredible things, and that they can believe in themselves to do the same thing despite all this foolishness. I was a young man going through all of my classmates and professors carrying on this way, feeling ultimately discouraged. What's happening with these other young boys who are growing up in these environments, and they have none of this encouragement that I've been afforded, blessed to be able to have. I said all that to say, that's how I created my publishing company, Melanin Origins, that provides culturally relative literature for the community. Now, so that's one thing. They can see themselves, they can believe in themselves. Also, culturally responsive teaching actually boosts academic achievement. When you look inside the school system, they refuse to have culturally responsive literature, even though the research has been done out there by doctors who serve on the National Academy of Education. Okay? So the information is out there. It's not the people who have the control to provide it. They're not taking advantage of it. So back to the question, what are the steps? We show up, we band with like-minded individuals. Life has brought us problems. Life has brought us burdens. God has given us talents. We identify those things, and we create the solution for our community.
I'll go next. So, like he said, I for the last 25 years, and 10 of them were here at the dock. I've hosted, and I still do things here at the dock, and do a lot of things with the Dock family.
Thank you.
There you go. You're welcome. Like the Trinity River Book Festival, I'll be doing that in Manpower. Anyway, so what I've done now, I'm not perfect. I have made a lot of mistakes. I've let my ego get in the way. I've done a lot of things that I've learned from security. I've learned a lot of things along the way. What the main thing I've learned is, because they've already so eloquently stated that there are people that are not necessarily interested in being a part of a movement, Black empowerment being one of them. We have to separate ourselves from those, and then we have to be an example once we are successful at that empowerment. However the gathering is, poetry, this, health and relationships, whatever it is, those are all Black empowerment movements. My area of expertise happens to be spoken word and poetry. I'm really good at getting people together, and because of that, I'm involved in a lot of things I never thought I'd be involved in. The NAACP Image Awards, all this acting stuff, this Grammy, consideration, all this stuff that I'm doing now, all the publishing. I'm doing a lot of great work, but it all started with us coming together at a small building off of Village Creek with Ricky Clark about 25 years ago, and sitting in there and just talking to each other. That was our empowerment. This right here is a much bigger group than it was when we were there for a whole year and a half. Just 5 people show up. 5 people, but we stuck with it. And now that movement has taken us to so many places, and all of our folks that came out, they're all authors and actors, they're doing this, they're teachers, they're professors, they've got degrees. And, I'm with Ms. Neek, before I had a master's degree, I had a PhD in the streets, you know what I'm saying? And so we use all of that, the street knowledge, our education, we sharpen ourselves like on these panels right here. We take that and we create our own empowerment. So that's how I've done it. And that's just one way to do it. I believe that if you, for example, tonight, next door, I've got this thing called word boxing, where the poets actually put on boxing gloves and get in a boxing ring next door at Dream Performance. Two reasons why I did that. One, it helps support that Black-owned gym. When I come here, it helps support these sisters Black-owned, establishment, right? Two, it's helping them think outside the box. Yes, you're gonna do poetry, but you're gonna actually wear a boxing glove, and you're gonna jab and jab and with those metaphors, you know what I'm saying? And it's just something unique. And what I'm doing, as far as empowerment, is I'm trying to use that to pitch this to Red Bull or to some other energy company. And I've already got AARP set to do our seniors poetry slam. So I have to have people support that movement. A lot of times they don't. They get inside their head, or they start thinking this, or they get jealous or whatever, and they don't support it. You end up on your own. But then when you do manage to, use your own inner Black empowerment to push these ideas, where people like places where he mentioned that, with the Caucasian dollars, then here they come. Or they got something negative to say. So that Black empowerment, those steps sometimes are always, fractured, but we have to keep pushing. Sometimes it's just one step at a time. Sometimes that step is a whole year of that one step. But we have to realize that we got to keep pushing and just believe in ourselves. And pretty soon people will come on.
Before I respond to the question, thanks, Mike. I love that answer he gave. Because it's so all inclusive. And I want to say thank you to 2 people that in the audience that I know are amazing leaders. And I know they're really busy. For them to be here, it means a lot. Kimberly Williams and Keisha Sanchez. They are amazing leaders and pillars in the community. And in answering that question, that's what I wanted to say. I think what we need to do is build more leaders. I feel like if what we're doing is not lifting, empowering, and making other people feel that they can be a part of this or be on this panel, our job is we're failing. Because as an influencer and a person that talks about empowerment in the community, my whole objective is to build more leaders to do what I do, and like Mike said, I do feel like it should be more people here, because not only did we well promote it, this event has purpose. You know what I'm saying? People need to understand and see the efforts and strides that it's taking to build us as a community, right? And it takes a village. Not just to raise kids, but to empower a culture. It takes a village. And I just want to continue to do my part. continue to pour into the community, no matter what it takes. Because at the end of the day, you can have degrees, you can have books, you can be doing all of the events in the world, but if you're not empowering and building more leaders, we're failing.
Thank you very much. Those are some amazing answers and very true answers. Just to piggyback off what you all said regarding showing up. Whenever you show up, regardless if there's one person in the room, 5 people in the room, stay. You never know how you're going to be impacted or what you're going to receive from it. You never know what you can contribute to that person if they're just starting out. One thing people fail to realize on this journey, you know how it is to start out. You know how heavy it is to start out, and you continue to push forward. You never know what you contribute and how you can help that person. You never know what's going on behind the scenes. So I really love that answer, is showing up. Like you said, thank you to the people that showed up. They're really busy, but they made the time to come and show up to a free community event. You could be anywhere else, but you showed up and you came, and we very much appreciate it. I want to shout out to Ms. Valerie, who I met yesterday. And she told me yesterday that she was going to come, and she came. And it means a lot for you all to come and show up. I went to the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce luncheon yesterday. I was there as a volunteer. I'm not at that level for the teacher, but it's amazing the work that they're doing in the community and how they're really pushing to uplift Black people. And I want to see more of us in there, more of us coming out and actually being intentional about uplifting our community, uplifting our Black businesses. I came to the Doc Bookshop about 7 years ago, and it was the first time. I'm from Fort Worth. I'm born and raised, graduated high school, born and raised in Fort Worth, and I just found out about the Doc Bookshop 7 years ago. And it has been a true blessing to come and vibe with the Sisters of the Doc. Every event that I come here, I feel inspired and moved by what they're doing in the community. It's always some type of people that I'm able to meet and get in connection with. And I don't give up, I don't stop, I come, I show up. Because that's what it is about. It's about showing up, being intentional. Whether you speak to anyone, whether you say anything, just show up. It's very that hit home when you said that, because a lot of people get discouraged because it's not a celebrity there, or it's not, decorated the best, or it's not this type of food or such and such. It's always some type of excuse of why they should show up. So again, we appreciate you all for showing up. I'll go into the next question, and anyone in the audience, feel free if you want to chime in, feel free. This is an open discussion. Identify and describe one issue that hinders the unity of African American people. What hinders us from being unified?
2-hour conversation.
I'm trying not to be the first one to answer these questions all the time.
But you just made a really important comment, and I don't think you even know what you said, because I'm just going to tell y'all how my brain works, right? Again, I'm Miss Neek Revamp. It's one word, y'all, on social media, because y'all want that church. I'm just trying to tell y'all. On every platform, too. I'm just going to give y'all that. What you said, which you may not even be aware of, but the way my brain processed it was the fact that we do these events and nobody knows. So what's the one thing we can do to empower ourselves, to unify ourselves, to share our shit? Why is it not shared everywhere? Why am I and he and she, why are we the only ones sharing this event? Why are we all not sharing what we see? It takes nothing and it's free. You can't participate in something you don't know that exists. And with hundreds of millions of people, because I have well over 200,000 followers. If everybody shared what Amber is doing today, what I'm doing tomorrow, what Sanchez is doing next week, what you is doing, the week after, then our agendas become full, and that fully is of support. So what's the one thing we can do? What's the one way we can unify? share, 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 share. No, share, like, comment, share, like, comment. Y'all hear it all day long on social media. You hear it all day long. Like, share, comment. That's real. It's each one teach one. So if you don't reach me, how you gonna teach me? How can I participate in something I don't know exists? If you gatekeeping, right? It's no excuse for not at least 10 people on each page to share something. If you got 100 people following you, 10 of them people should be sharing what you're sharing. 10 of them people should plan to show up. Period. That's what we're missing in our community. We can't be unified because, as Mike has already said, you know, maybe somebody's jealous of your success. Oh, she already got so many followers, so she don't need no more. I'm not gonna follow her, but I'm a stalker from outside. I'm gonna see everything she do. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do all of this, but I'm not gonna follow her. You think you hate me? You still passing on the message. You still received it. You know, that's the thing that we need to stop. We need to stop thinking that following her is doing her a favor. Nah, baby. This message is for you. You're doing yourself a disservice when you're not sharing empowering things like this. When you're not allowing us to give you the message that you've been asking for, begging for, praying for. When you're not open to receive after you've asked for it, right? Because what God said, asking you shall receive, right? How you gonna receive anything with your hands closed? Huh? Everybody think that you blocking something from me. Baby, what's mine is mine. Ain't nothing you can do. Not nothing now that you can do to stop anything that's gonna happen with me. Nothing. So the fact that you even think that not showing up for me or not following me or not sharing my stuff is going to stop something. I want to nip that in the bud right now. It ain't doing nothing for me. You're blocking yourself. And you're blocking those future people. You're blocking those people. You're doing a disservice to people who are following you. Because this is information they may need. And because you won't share it, they're not going to get it now. Because the algorithming, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever you subscribe to, that's what continues to show up in front of you. So if your people subscribe to you and you're not sharing this information, then chances are their algorithm is not giving them this information either. So stop thinking you blocking other folks because you ain't supporting, baby. You're blocking yourself and you're blocking those who are following you, and you're supposed to be the leader.
I was going to attempt to go behind Ms. Meek. I know it's not easy. She's so passionate and empowering. But to kind of pick back on her just a little bit about Faye, I love her answer. And I think what she's saying is not only just sharing, is supporting. And I think those two go hand in hand. And we talked about leaders earlier, and I know sometimes everybody can't be leaders. We have to, some people have to be followers, right? And I just think of like when you have leaders in your circumference, or you have leaders in the midst of what's going on, just being able to show up and support and push those leaders further sometimes. And I think that's what we need to break down that crab in the bucket mentality, because some people, for some, they feel like if you're helping me or if you're not helping me, it affects my success, which it doesn't, because I've done enough things in my career, just speaking personal experience, I've done enough things in my career. If I don't do anything else, I feel like I've made an impact. But to be able to push those leaders that are bold enough, that are courageous enough, that is ambitious enough to come forward and put their life on the line to do these things, because it's not easy. It's not easy getting up on stages and being vulnerable and telling your story and doing what it takes to be a leader. Being a leader is not easy. But when you do see that, I think we can break that crab in the bucket mentality and open up so many other possibilities if people would just show up, support, and help push. Amen.
Amen.
Totally agree. And for the record, I do not believe in the algorithm. I can't stand it. I do not believe in the algorithm. Listen, yeah, I mean, scientifically, I get that. I also believe that, there's other agendas to push certain foolishness. So, with that being stated, I don't believe in the algorithm. I do believe in resonance. Okay, the words that these panelists are sharing, they resonate with me and with you, right? If we think about this, now Jesus said, "My sheep hear my voice." Right? There's a resonance there through this sound vibration. There's a resonance, and we can move forward together to higher levels of consciousness. I want to take the conversation just a slightly different, and I'm just going to be the guy who always brings it back to knowledge of self. I'm sorry, I'm going to bring it back to knowledge of self. Right? Collectively, there is a huge lack of knowledge of self, and one of the problems about knowledge of self is that whenever this is mentioned, oh man, it's just the conversation is so vast and expansive. There's so much that goes into self-knowledge and knowledge of self, and sometimes people, the pioneers who champion this information, they just talk foolishness. But if I can give 3 just basic foundational elements that we can gather from knowledge of self. Okay, the first thing is that have you ever answered the question, who are you? Have you ever answered that question? I'm talking about knowledge of self. Have you answered it? Just who are you? Have you ever asked yourself the question, what does it mean to be a human being? Like, plop, we're here, and now we're grappling with the societal forces that are around us, doing the best that we can. And so this is what's happening to each and every one of us all around the planet. There's a lack of knowledge of self. And this is by design. So 3 foundational things. One is that, oh my God, we are a spiritual being with heavy magnetic abilities to attract our greatest desires to ourselves. If life and death are in the power of the tongue, and that's the message that we've been hearing for all these years, we attract based on what we speak and bring it, we put out to the world. Faith, visualization without works, doing the thing, that's dead. So we can reach any single goal that we want to achieve, but we don't understand the foundation of who we are as an individual because of lack of knowledge of self. The second thing, foundation about knowledge of self, is that we have the ability to heal ourselves and heal the individual right next to us, heal each other. Okay, we have that ability. We have energy centers within our body that gets clogged up because of the things that we experience in life. There's a process to unclogging that and moving forward. However, we don't know this. So sadness overwhelms us. So depression turns into loneliness. Some people commit suicide. There's anger, right? And we're in this world. We're in this societal structure of things that seem to be against us so much. But the blueprint is there, and it is found in knowledge of self. So first, we can achieve any goal. We can attract it to us. And then 2, we can heal ourselves. I mean, what else? What else? Okay. And the third one, love. Okay, I just have to say love. Love, all that stuff, the 10 Commandments, the Bible. Jesus came and said, hey, look, man, a new commandment I give unto you. Love your neighbor even as I've loved you, as God loves you. By doing that one thing, love, that's how the world will know that you are my disciples, right? The law, the 10 Commandments, Jesus said, love is a fulfillment of the law. Love is the highest frequency of vibration. Now, as an individual who does not truly grasp that's been thrown and tossed at us all this time, you don't truly grasp it because there's a lack of knowledge of self. There's a universal law called cause and effect. Within that universal law is the law of attraction. It means what we put out, we can bring back into ourselves. So first off, life and death are in the power of the tongue. I said that, right? So you speak life, you speak death. You speak condemnation to others, you speak condemnation to yourself, you receive it. So why not create a systematic way or your own personal way to practice positive affirmations, to practice speaking love, speaking life, to make that a lifestyle so that we can actually walk directly into what we desire to achieve and the community that we want to have. Love. If I am doing the best that I can in the world and my neighbor wrongs me, right? Let's go back to the law of cause and effect. That person did something wrong. They're going to receive something for what they did. Vengeance is mine, said the Lord. He will repay. Okay. All this is saying the same thing. Universal law, religion, culture, it's been trying to get us this. That person is going to receive negative results from what he did. But if I'm putting love back out to that individual, what do you think I'm going to receive? All right. Thank you.
All right, well, give it up for that. Y'all gotta give it up for that right there. Y'all gotta give it up.
Y'all gonna quit clapping for one person. That's
Yeah,
all.
I'm doing notes, y'all. These guys are amazing right here. All right, so real quick though, real short, my notes. I just simply wrote, the problem is with regard to what hinders the unity of African American people. I put, the problem is that no matter your level of success, sound foundation, or quality of service, folks still don't want to recognize you as an expert in your area of artistry or expertise. This lends to their issue with transparency that leads to this generational lack of support and trust, which leads to division and undermines the value of what race and justice means. It causes deficits in educational innovation, decreases opportunities for inclusive economical options, decreases the value for our collective health and well-being, like Louis was talking about, which equals an ill-equipped next generation of leaders. That's what I wrote.
Well,
Oh, we got,
Okay.
got the PowerPoint I sent out there.
Hey y'all, my name's Keisha, I'm the owner of I Am Radio and also the founder and curator of the Arlington Merchant Mix. I wanted to share as far as a hindrance. I actually was about to speak to this. We were on the phone last night and I let him know, because I also help somebody else run their business. So I work for Bridgecrest, I'm their senior operations manager over bankruptcy and impounds. And I spent spent the last week in Arizona, predominantly white. Collateral recovery is a predominantly male industry. And here I am in this room, like, observing. And one thing I've learned from these other folks is that they're very intentional. I mean, hit the bullseye with intent, with who they're in the room with, and the message, the goal. And so what separates, or what is what moves the needle between the shepherd and the sheep, or the leader and the employee, leader in the community and the community itself? It is perspective. It's just a mindset shift, philosophy. And so I've spoke to both of these brothers that our work, the results of our work, is none of our business. Our responsibility is only to show up. And so first and foremost, we have to get real clear about what is it that I am supposed to be doing. What am I good at? What am I good at? It might just be my sense of humor. It might just be the love. And I might be good at analytics. One thing I've learned in this past 4 months of this promotion is I don't have to do it all on my own. When I got this promotion, I said, and I walked over there, I said, I don't know what I'm doing. But I knew that I was there for a reason, right? So they saw something. So I had to kind of weave my way through and just use my clairvoyance, use my intellect, use how I speak with power and with intent. And I let the other guys, the guys that's been in it for 30 plus years, I go sit in the rooms with them. Hey, show me that. What report is that? Oh, I don't know analytics. Oh, we have an analytics team. I spend time with them. And guess what? When I go into these rooms and I share these MBRs, it seems like I'm getting pauses and accolades. It's not my work. But I went around and seen who was good at what. Social entrepreneurship will help us move the needle. We have to see who is good at what. We all don't have to do it alone. Get rid of the crab in the bucket mentality and band together and move in numbers and get the job done. That is what will move the needle.
Okay, what I wanted to add in reference to what is missing, right, in our community, what we need to help us band together, is a healthy ego.
There you go. Right.
So one thing that I teach or I focus in on is authority, right? So what I know I've been called to do, I do.
That's right. That's it.
And therefore, I don't need anybody to like it.
There you go.
I don't need anybody's applause. I don't need anyone in the room. All I need to do is be who God has called me to be and purpose me to be, because I'm a pillar. And so that wall has to be held up regardless, right? And so when I take up my bed and I begin to walk that thing out, I do not require people to approve the way that I walk. And so when we as a people understand our communal authority, then you will be the leg that you are. You will be the toes that you are. You will be the eyes that you are. And we will be the body that we've been called to be, so that we are standing in solidarity. And we can do what we've been called to do for our people, because we are the solutions. And that is why everyone can feed off of what we have, because we are the solution. So they're receiving answers from us that we're missing because we're too busy looking at what the hand is doing. So, understanding your authority, owning personal ownership of who you are called to be, and recognizing self-awareness, self-acceptance, and then self-efficacy. That means that I understand that I can do exactly what I've been called to do. So that's all I wanted to add to the conversation.
I live in that space, by the way, if y'all haven't figured that out.
I live there. Send us that cash app, okay?
As you're coming up, I'm going to speak as you're coming up. I love the answers, and I hope that you all are understanding and seeing how the pieces are coming together on what we need to do. You said about social media, and also Ms. Sanchez said something about social media, and you said that you didn't really like the algorithm. I want to chime in on that before I let you speak. Stand up because I'm not going to be long. I learned something from this, because initially I wasn't too fond of social media and putting things out there on social media and marketing, but that is the new generation with marketing now. Social media, everybody, everywhere you go, their phones out, everybody's on the social media. And I wanted to say that from my perspective, before I heard you all speak, that social media has become an issue, more of a tool for us to utilize as bringing the community together. Black Wall Street didn't have social media. Right. Now that we have social media, I felt before this conversation, I felt that it was a hindrance. But now that we have this, and I can see how we can utilize it to our benefit, that's one thing that we need to do. If you have the technique and the tools to help the person who don't understand how something can benefit them, help them. Don't just assume that they know what they're doing. Don't just assume that they know that whatever the social media, the algorithm is, that they understand that they understand how they can benefit them, because they always don't. I have a little child, and every time I go somewhere and I want to make conversation with people, it's very difficult because so many people are consumed with their cell phone. They are so like this that they don't even know how to speak or hold a conversation. And so I'm kind of shifting my thoughts on that with social media. And so those of you who are experts in that, each one teach one, help somebody understand how they can utilize social media or any other tool that they don't understand to help the community. Thank you.
Help me.
Good afternoon. I'm enjoying myself. Some kind of way this showed up on my feed, and I was like, "Oh, let me pop by my friends."
The algorithm.
My name is Dr. Keisha White. I am an educator. I have an organization, the Prep Factory. Some of you may have heard of it, but what we do is help young, beautiful children go to college, help them graduate from college, and we help them do it with little to no debt, so that they're coming in and we're changing lives that way. 10 years in business is June, this month, right? And thank you. Longevity has its place, right?
Yeah, yes, it does, man.
So what, I'm gonna be as,
Say what's on your spirit,
I
man.
know, Nehemiah.
There you go.
Nehemiah. If you read the Bible, the Lord has had me read Nehemiah 3 times. For 3 different times in my life, for 3 very different reasons. Took me back to Nehemiah. Nehemiah was a strategist. Nehemiah used the algorithm. Nehemiah used everything that everyone is talking about. He was a cupbearer, right? His job was to, if I'm getting this right, someone please correct me, was to taste the food of the king, right? That was his vocational work. That was his vocational work. He was hired to do that. But his calling was to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. How did he do that? No, remember his job was this one thing, but God led him to do something else. His divine assignment was to rebuild the wall. Rebuilding the wall is about one thing: restoration. We are, our community, we are metaphorically the wall of Jerusalem, right? And we're in a rebuilding. All of us have a purpose in rebuilding that wall. There were some, and they had to have 2 jobs while they were, as he assigned, on the north side, y'all doing this. On the south side, y'all doing this. Everybody had a place, and they all were strategically located according to where they lived, right? So he maximized their community, right? He maximized the opportunities that was before then, and he delegated, and he trusted.
Yes.
He trusted that the assignment was what it was supposed to be, and he trusted who God had him use, right? We all, my wall, my section of the wall is rebuilding youth. It's to provide and to restore youth. Your section of the wall is whatever it is, and all of the, and someone, or is economic empowerment. Yours is communication. And it's so obvious when I saw you yesterday, Ms. Allen. If y'all know Ms. Allen, y'all need to give me Ms. Allen. Everyone has a part to play in rebuilding this wall, right? And when we get it built, right? When we get it built, because how do we come out of slavery and then go into being millionaires?
Right.
We know that can be done again.
Absolutely.
Coming out of abject poverty and no education into becoming multimillionaires. You understand? So it's not like, and think about it like this. Our bloodline made it through the Middle Passage. Our bloodline made it through Jim Crow. It's making it through everything else. And I'm dealing with young people who are bothered by the things that they see that are not fair. Why, Dr. White, why are our books, why we only have 8 books in the classroom and Benbrook has a whole class set? That's a great question. Now, what are you going to do about that? Now that you recognize the conflict, what are you going to do? How are you going to use that and turn it to energy? We all know the conflict, right? We all know what the problem is. But if once we are completely focusing on what is my part to play in this, in rebuilding this wall, in rebuilding this community, in rebuilding me, right? Unity, various times. You had a book in you, right? That's your section of the wall. You have your doctorate, right? Which one? Someone up here has a PhD.
I have a PhD in hard knocks.
Okay, well, either way, so experience also, right? Experience also. Lived experiences I teach my students are just as profound as academic experience. And it's really not, if not more, because my path was through education and, as God is revealing to me, a lot of trauma. Because he knew that I would be working with children who would have the exact same trauma. And when I tell you, I do not look like what I've been through.
Baby.
I do not look like what I've been through. I don't sound like what I've been through at all. But that's my part of the wall.
That's right.
That's my testimony to share and say, I identify. Here's how I came out of it. These are the mistakes I made. Here are my pitfalls. And here are my growth spurts. In the name of Jesus. That's my contribution to this conversation about the divine assignment, and you work the heck out of it. Walk in that excellence that you are, because I teach my students, you are born with everything you need.
Yes.
God is not, he has no secrets within us. We have to tap into those resources that he provided to us, right? You heard the man's message yesterday. And y'all should watch that video if they put it out there. That's the same message I teach my students. And I'm hitting my board member because I'm saying, I tell my kids this. And what he was saying was, it's in you. What he learned to do, what the guy, Walter Bond, his kindergarten teacher taught, his mom, who was a kindergarten teacher, gave him that on the way to class every day, kindergarten. She just poured out of it. She nurtured that seed. And I'm telling you, and I guess my point is done here. If you haven't read Nehemiah, read Nehemiah. He is a strategist, and he's clear on how to make this work. All right, I need you to sign my book. Okay.
Sold the book.
You sold the
I
book.
just want to speak over here real quick, because I know you gotta
Okay.
shut down.
Yeah.
I would say if there's one thing that I speak is missing, it's activism. And that's something that we can all do, no matter if you're good in this area, you're good in that area. Everybody can be active and spread the word, no matter where you're at. Why do I say this? Years ago, Tim Point was part of this, we had the RBG movement, a lot of movement. So you talk about Trayvon Martin, Brown, all those different things that happened to our Black community, we came together. This place used to be packed. Black Empowerment Movement, Know Thyself, History and Culture, this place used to be packed. But what has happened is the short memory, we have short-term memory. And so we have to have conscious activism all the time,
Right.
to make sure we all are moving in the same direction. Otherwise, you have 100 people going 20 different directions. Yes, you're good in this area, but we all have a responsibility to sustain growth in the African American community. Case in point, Amber heard me talk about this all the time. Who loves Tabitha Brown? Anybody know who Tabitha Brown?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. She did a book tour.
Mhm.
And she had a sold out book tour. A lot of women participated in it. African American women participated in it. She had no black author, black bookstore on her book tour. Did anybody question that? Activism is, I'm going to participate in this, but I want to know because I'm rooted, I'm grounded, I have a foundation. Nobody questioned the fact that she shot out her hair person, her male person, but who was her book seller on her book tour? She did from January to Black History Month. That's an insult. We're doing in the same breath of closing the wealth gap.
Right.
But we didn't question that during Black History Month. You know why? Activism has moved to the side. But activism in everything we do, we have to have a platform of where we can be centralized, where we can be on the same page. And we, again, until something traumatic happens, then we come together. But how do we increase activism? We have to all be readers.
Come on, somebody.
We have to all know there's no reason why everybody doesn't deal with David Walker appeal. This whole thing speaks to David Walker appeal from spirituality to economics. And that's a basic book. That's a basic book. But once we get all on the same page in terms of how we read and the material that we read, we can afford to go in these different directions and still come together and deal out an empowerment. It's hard to deal with our empowerment if you got this person thinking this way, that person thinking that way. We're all on 20 different pages. Let's get to the foundation. Know thyself, psychological chains of slavery. That's when you're dealing with Black empowerment. You have to have a foundation, and there's no better way to have a foundation than to deal with literacy, deal with books, and making sure your library is reflective of your people.
Come on.
You know, when Donna and I first, remember we talked about you saying that right there, remember that? No, I'm kidding. Brilliant.
Very much so, very brilliant. We're gonna wrap it up with one more question, and then we're going to, open the floor for any questions for any other panelists. And then you all can, have some more refreshments, we'll mingle, and then, Mike event is after this, right next door, if you all wanna attend that, I'm more than welcome. And then we'll network and go. So without further ado, the last question that I have is, okay. As we work to improve Black empowerment, what are some challenges that we will face that we need to overcome before we move next? There are some challenges that we face in our community. What challenge can you think of that we need to improve before we move next?
Y'all don't make me go first.
It's okay. I'll take it.
Mike said it's okay. Mike, don't make me go
Well,
first.
go ahead.
Come on, young lady.
I see you, bro. She stood up like, hey, I got this.
To answer that question, I think is to understand each other in our trauma. Because with us being Black, we have a lot of trauma that has extended years and years and years and years on. And we are suffering from the trauma of our grandparents and our forefathers, and it's running in our blood. And when we experience these traumas, we act like that we are each other's enemies, and we're not each other's enemies. The moment that we begin to understand each other in our traumas and understand that these traumas are being passed down and then they're reflected, and I learned this from this person and I learned this from this person, and we start to build things in a community to refrain from those things that are hurting the youth and that is hurting the family. We need therapy in the community for parents and their children, not just parents and the things that they have going on, because we have to reconcile that relationship with the children. We're telling them to honor their parents and their mothers, but there's a broken relationship that has been perverted. Then this family dynamic that you have going on, you have all these secrets that's going on, and then you have closed mouths, don't tell what goes on in my household. So now we have a problem of Black kids speaking up, and now our voices are being suppressed. So all of these things start with needed in our community, understanding our trauma and where it comes from. And the moment we face our trauma and take accountability in what we allow, the trauma that we allow to pass on to our children and grandchildren, then therefore we can start making some changes, because then I can look at you as a brother and sister to know that you may have hurt me and I may have hurt you and the things that we've been through, but let's not blame each other. Let's work together to fix it, so as I'm pouring into the next generation, they don't have to suffer from what we suffered. Because a lot of it is from a lack of knowledge. God says his people perish for a lack of knowledge, and thus not knowing the spiritual root of things, the spiritual battles that we have and that we are in on a daily basis. We are fighting flesh with flesh, and we don't need to do that. So in our community, once we get an understanding of that, we can now move forward to working together, because unity is not going to work unless we begin to understand each other and the different backgrounds that we come from.
What was your name again? What was your name again?
That's Amaya Carter. Amaya Carter, and she's an amazing entrepreneur. I just want to plug her.
Wait a minute.
That's on the
Look, first of all, we got my co-author in the back speaking up. Let's go. My first book, I'm glad. Thank you so much for that input. I actually wanted to add on to that because she talked about, trauma and healing. She said all of those things that we need to understand. And I think also, just to piggyback on what she's saying, is sometimes we have to, it's like a form of meditation, right? You have to get rid of the negatives to refuel with the positive. And I think that's one of the things that I feel like we must do. We must kind of like deprogram ourselves from all of the things that we was brought up and taught, and learning as adults, doing our own research and finding out who we are. Because I think a lot of the systems has failed us. Like the education system, it really failed us. Like, how can you teach us about our history and our culture when you never lived it? You know what I'm saying? So we started to think that's who we are. We started to think that those things are our history. And I feel like we talked about this earlier as far as how important it is for us to continue to put the narrative. Because if we let somebody else do it, it's going to continue to be misleading. So it takes what we're doing to continue to push the narrative, not just pushing the narrative, but just doing the research and finding out who we really are. You know what I'm saying? Finding out our culture. And these things right here, this is just the tip of the iceberg. It has to go so much further than just this table. You know what I'm saying? You guys got to take these things back out into the community and really start to work it, start to marinate it into the children. Everything that you do as business owners, as influencers, as speakers, as motivators, it's like it goes so far beyond this, right? It's like all of this right here is in vain if it doesn't leave these doors. Right? We have to continue to live these things, not just preach them. I can go so much further, but I know we're on a time thing. But y'all, let's talk. Let's talk after this. So let's keep this narrative going.
Okay, all right, I'm going. Okay. I definitely love what both Samaya and Mr. Yu said just now. Regarding trauma specifically, oh man, trauma specifically, every single person has something that they've experienced, that they have went through. And in a way, it serves, we have to be able to look at it as it's serving a greater purpose. At some point, we have to be able to look at whatever we went through and experienced as serving a greater purpose. But in the interim, without that knowledge, without that encouragement, without the community having a shelter, a safe place, a stronghold that provides counseling, therapy, and not necessarily always at cost, or ensuring that everyone can be able to receive it regardless of cost, right? I spoke earlier about energy centers that we have within us. These things become blocked by what? Same thing that the psychologist talks to you about: fear, guilt, grief, shame, right? Lies that we tell ourselves, lies that the external world has told us, right? And then also an unhealthy attachment to material things or even people that's on this earth. So there's a blueprint for attracting and living out your best life, found in books, just like as sister said, right? There's literally a pathway you can take. There's a pathway to cleanse out the healing. To provide for the healing. But who is going into our communities and setting up these centers so this work can be done? You see, I'm just going to task it to every single person that's in here, right? Identify the area, the burden that you have on your heart, the talent that God has given to you. Identify that and say to yourself, as a young boy, as a young girl, if I had a person who was able to provide that for me, oh my God, I just wish I did. I would have been so better off. Who's to say that you can't do that for the individuals in your community right now? Who's to say that you cannot do that? And so the information is out there. It's upon us to create the institutions because, society at large, our counterparts, however you want to call it, the enemy, whatever, they're not going to do it. They're not interested. It's just a capitalistic game that everyone's running up, right? But we are human beings. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and we care for one another. We care about the status of the person that's right next to us. Let's create the institutions. The challenges lie in individuals such as everyone that's in this room not creating the institutions and banding together and dropping everything else. Like, we have to deem that the distractions don't matter. It's a distraction. It doesn't matter. Now, someone's making you upset. That doesn't matter. Right? We're focused on the goal and we're moving in that direction.
Hey, I want to add something too. We started talking about what's the possible obstacles. We have people that have knowledge of how to get funding, and we have people that have knowledge of, yeah, that's right. We got people that know how to put programs together and is willing to work and do things. So we're talking about possible challenges to look for is putting those together and making those seamless, and also too understanding that if I have the resources, that does not mean I know how the program should run.
That's correct.
I don't have to be the one in top. Or if I'm the one making it, hey, I gotta understand, I'm getting the resources I have to be able to listen to. So that's one of the obstacles we do. And also to each leader, find someone to mentor.
There you go.
We gotta find one person to mentor for free, at least to teach them. So those two I want to add.
And actually, I was gonna ask, I'm glad that you pointed that out because that's where I was going with it. I was asking Amber for the question again because I had forgotten. But then you just reminded me of exactly what the question was. And that is to your comments. I want to say that one of the biggest obstacles outside of what that queen said, which was trauma, because that's very real. We cannot deny it. I mean, the traumatic experience we have lived and that we continue to live is real. And the perpetuation of that trauma and the continuation of that trauma is very real. As a trauma healing coach, I get it. But the biggest thing, to piggyback off what he said, in my opinion, our problem is ego. It's an ego. We allow society to continue to divide us. Remember, the most effective, and it has worked forever, was to divide and conquer. And so because we keep, and we know it, we know they're dividing us. They're dividing us by race. They're dividing us by gender. Somebody said yesterday on TV, on a show I was watching, that gender is a mentality. Say what? Now I'm free. I'm a free thinker. You can think what you want, believe what you want. I ain't gonna judge you none. But gender is a mentality? Well, I identify as a queen. And I always have. And in fact, I request being called that. But if I request and demand that you call me a queen, I done lost my damn mind. But I am supposed to now call you whatever it is you want to be called, or whoever you identify as, right? Okay. Ego is our biggest problem. Because once we pass the ego, we cooking with grease. But we can't get past that because she worried about me getting ahead of her. He worried about me getting further than him. I'm worried about him succeeding more than I am, right? Because that's all part of the initial plan. The initial plan is to keep us divided. It's to keep me thinking that I got to get it how I get it.
I gotta pull myself up out of bootstraps. I gotta put my big girl drawers on. I gotta do this all by myself, right? And then get mad, and then we go to what that brother said when he said, hey, if you know how to implement a program, why don't you teach someone who wants to start a program, right? But we won't let that happen, right? Because the person that has grinded and done got it how they live and then figured it all out, right? Yes, you should definitely be be rewarded for having gathered that information. Absolutely. But let's say that somebody always plants a seed. No matter where you are, no matter how hard you tried, no matter where you've been, somebody planted a seed. Somebody planted a seed in you. So what is wrong with giving somebody else that break? Ain't nobody tell you got to give it to a room of 100. I plant seeds, don't I, Amber? You got to plant seeds because at the end of the day, not everybody has the resource. So are you going to continue to hinder us as a person because this sister can't afford it or this brother didn't have it? We continue to be divided. Our ego is our biggest problem. And once we get past allowing these people to continue to divide us, and how do we do that? By being intentional. We go all the way back to what I said about programs, organizations, and sharing content. If I'm putting something out, you be intentionally and you share that. You share that. Why? Because somebody needs to hear. You don't gotta know not a single person who is interested in colors. But the fact that you posted it, whoever is will get it. And whoever needs it will then share it. And then now all the people who are interested in colors know where to come for some colors. You don't have to personally know the people who are supposed to receive your message. Your job as a messenger is to simply give the message. Give the message, put it out there, and expect it to be received by whoever needs to get it. That's it. Going back to what that queenster said. When you stand firm in who you are and what you do and your purpose and your intent and what you're supposed to be doing, you play the role that you came to play. It is no longer your responsibility. Who gets it, who didn't get it, who missed it, who gonna catch it next week. It don't matter. It was in you to say it. You said it. It's out. Somebody gonna get it. And guess what? In this day and age, when you say it once, somebody recorded it. So it's gonna get said over and over and over and over again. So as a community, we have to be intentional because we know that they are dividing us. Not a person in this room can say they don't know that the division is real. Not a single person in this room cannot say that they have not faced division amongst ourselves. So we can go back to generational curses and we can go back to the generational trauma and all of that stuff. But as a trauma healing coach, let me tell you one thing I don't do, and that's make excuses. I don't make excuses. And what do I mean by that? Yes, trauma is very real. It absolutely is. None of us can deny the generational traumas and curses and all that other stuff that we have. But guess what else is real? That we grown ass people and we know right from wrong. And we know that what we experienced wasn't right. And it is an intentional purpose for you to continue to let that keep going on. You have the right to change it. You have the right to stop it. You have the right to change the trajectory. You don't have to keep that going. It is an intention that you keep that going. Grandma said this, and so you keeping it going. You knew it was wrong when she told you, but you keep it going. Why? And then we want to blame grandma and uncle. They were only doing what they knew how to do. Now, when you know better, you do better. At least that's what I hope. So if you steady doing the same stuff that you know wasn't right in the beginning, then it's shame on you, not shame on them. So we have to stop looking for other people to blame and start blaming ourselves. And that's an absolute fact. The trauma is real, true. But it can stop with you. Now you're an adult, you're out of their home, you don't live by their rules, you have your own place, you have your own family now. You don't have to live by those same traditions. Baby, you got your own kids and your own husband. You can create your own. You don't want to celebrate Christmas, fine. Don't celebrate it. That's you.
You get to stand the test. You get to put that forward. You get to plan that. You get to do that now. That's yours. And guess what? Because it's in your house, you don't give a damn that they care that you don't celebrate. Or if you decided, hey, every Friday is Blue Day, that's yours. It's your prerogative. It's what you have power over. See, what we got to stop doing is asking people for permission to be us. We got to stop asking people, family. We got to stop asking family members to approve our message. It's not, I don't need validation. If I'm going to walk around this world and I'm going to be out here in this earth and I'm going to walk amongst other people and I'm going to be big and tall and bold, I'm going to do that at home too. You can't keep telling me what I can do. You can't keep telling me that I have to still subscribe to the same, propaganda that you've been spewing to me. I watched how you let the church tear you down, talk crap about you. I watched how your pastor slept with half the congregation. I watched that church unfold, fall apart, and you still telling me I'm supposed to praise him. No. If it works for you, great. But you don't get to tell me that I'm supposed to do the same thing. I can watch you fail, and you still want me to believe in the thing that I watched you fail at. No, absolutely not. My life, my rules. And that's what we have to realize. You don't need validation. You don't need permission. You're grown up. Trauma is real. It's so real. It's so real. It is so hard. But when you realize that your life is yours now, that's the first step at handling trauma. Realizing that I don't have to consciously keep allowing this to happen. I could stop it right here. It doesn't have to go any further. I can teach my kids something different. I don't have to let this keep going on. That's where you start. If nothing else, start with yourself. And then, hopefully, you will pass that healing on to your babies, who will then pass that healing on to your other babies. And maybe those family members who have been so traumatized will actually receive what's happening, and they might start mimicking it. They might start realizing, yo, dang, that was wrong. Because when you know better, you do better. But if it's the norm for you, you don't know that anything is wrong until somebody show you something different. When you see something different, you realize, oh dang, I grew up in the hood. I grew up poor, far south side of Chicago. I grew up in the ghetto. But guess what? Everybody had cars. Everybody had nice apartments. I didn't know I was poor. It wasn't until I got in the system and I went and lived in a different neighborhood that I realized, oh damn, oh that was the slum. Until you are shown something different, you are unaware of where you are factually. So until somebody can show me that there is a better way, I don't know what I'm doing is wrong. So change it. When you see it, change it. It's a choice, and it's a conscious choice.
I like to take notes. I think I said that before. So the question was, what are some challenges or things to consider about the process? And I wrote, I remember when we used to be our own algorithm. It was called the community. We knew to be in before what? The lights come on. That on Sunday we were where? All right. That if you acted up, then someone in the neighborhood would do what? And your parents would thank them. But not now. The world changes daily, so if it's been 5, 10, 20 years since the last change in leadership, then that becomes an issue because what worked a year ago may not work this time. So we lose the attention of followers who could potentially become leaders. Some folks need to accept the fact that due to a lack of education and experience in building community, that they should sit their ass down somewhere and let those who know what they're doing do it, and trust that when those knowledgeable, dedicated folks are done creating, planning, coordinating, advocating, organizing, implementing, and developing, that we are all going to benefit. And that is how we become our own algorithm again. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap things up and say a few things that I've written down as everyone was speaking. A few takeaway points. As Ms. Meek said, the division is real. For those of you who are non-entrepreneurs and you work in corporate or you work a 9 to 5, you understand that the division is real. A lot of times we're in places where it's just us. At my company now where I work full time, I am the only African American woman in my department. And I feel it every single day. And for those of you who aren't entrepreneurs, you understand that it takes a team.
Yes.
You can't do it all by yourself. So why not help someone who's in seek of a job? Wouldn't it be nice to work with someone who looks like you, sharing your vision, helping you with your vision? I met the owners of Ebanopoly a couple of weeks ago here at the bookshop. And
I got that game, girl, about it like 2 years ago.
I actually met the owners, and one thing,
Cause I know they here and say, I'm sorry.
one thing that I took away, the owner said that there's 3 people involved in the success of a business. There's the person that has the vision, there's the person that funds the vision, and then there's the person that implements. So if you don't have those 3 things and you need those 3 things, why not give it to your people? The people that look like you, the people who struggle, the same struggle that you struggle, that wake up every day, the struggle of being Black. Why not help them? Why not help them help you, help your vision, bring your vision to life? Because as I said, and as Ms. Lee said, the division is real. I experience it every day I go to work. It is real. Next thing I want to say, be intentional. Be intentional about uplifting and empowering your people. It is very sad that Tabitha Brown has made it to that level and not even acknowledge your people, a Black-owned bookstore, and you don't want to give back and acknowledge your people. That is a problem, a serious problem. You are Black, but you can't acknowledge and represent for your Black people. You can't show up for your Black people. That is a problem. So be intentional, not just today, not just tomorrow, but here on out, every day. Be intentional about uplifting and empowering your people. We need you. We need each other. Second thing, show up. We said that a lot of times throughout the day. Show up. If you don't have it, see how you can get it to show up. This was a free event. Like he said, it should be packed. When Deion Sanders was here, it was packed. It was packed wall to wall, and you could not even get a conversation with him. You got a picture and you moved on about your business. Quickly. That says something. Be intentional about your people. Show up for your people. If you can pay $30, $100 for an event and not even get to speak to anyone, not even get to say your piece, that is a problem. The next thing I want to say is follow up. When you meet someone today, because a lot of you will meet someone and will connect with someone, follow up. Because you know life be life in all of us. I took a whole break from Facebook to get myself together because life be life in us. And I want everyone to know just to follow up. Hey girl, how you doing? I seen you last week. You all right? What you need? Can I be of assistance? Oh, I don't have it, but I know somebody who does. Because we all know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. So why not follow up and help somebody? Last thing I want to say is pour back into your community. If you are able to give, if you are able to help, pour back into your community. Just like you want someone to pour into you, pour back into your community. And I appreciate all of you who came out and supported this free event and understand that Black empowerment, we need each other. Y'all see Black Wall Street, we can do it. Like she said, we came from slavery, not having nothing, didn't know anything, and look what we did. Look what we accomplished. Look what we're going to accomplish. When you leave here, you make sure you are intentional, you show up, you follow up, and you pour back into your community. I want to thank you all for sharing this stage with me and participating in this Black empowerment movement. When you leave here today, you make sure you connect with someone And I want to shout out to my friend. I saw you snuck in the back. I haven't seen you in about a month or so. I love you very much, and I thank you so much for coming. My friend Latoya, she has her own painting with a twist business, and she is phenomenal. She's very phenomenal. She come out. She's a part of the Sisterhood Foundation. She comes out and she interacts with the girls, and she pours into her community. We don't have much, but we make what we have, we make it work. And I thank you all very, very much from the bottom of my heart for coming out to the celebration of Black Empowerment Part 2. Thank you all. Please feel free to enjoy the refreshments and have a great day. Thank you. Okay, that's a great question. I am definitely interested in doing a part 3. And if you are interested in participating and helping, please reach out, because this is it takes a lot to put these things together. And it's not easy. So if you want to participate, please let me know. Give me your number. I will set the date, get everything organized, and we can work together to make it happen. Also, we do have Sister Sunday for the ladies. If you're interested in participating in Sister Sunday, we have it once a month, every third Sunday of the month. It's a free event. We mix and mingle, we bond, and we talk about a certain topic, and we just fellowship with ladies. And it's free, we eat, and we help each other out. If you want to be a vendor for that, you can also be a vendor. We have that once a month. So we have a lot of good things that we're doing in the community. Let's spread the word. Let's help each other out. Thank y'all again. Thank you all. Let's have a great evening.
Please support the Doc Bookshop. Please get books and all that good stuff. We have authors who are on the panel who also have books. Find out where they are. Thank you so much. The Doc Bookshop will be back Tuesday, open mic night. Check it out. All right. Also, August 3rd, myself, Mr. Rodriguez, and Ms. Steppen will be here for a wonderful book signing with Ms. Nina Greasy. We'll see y'all next time. Okay? Thank you.
Can we get some pictures real quick before we get some pictures real quick? Oh, we need to turn this off, don't we? Oh crap. Where? Oh.